Hello and welcome to another episode of the E-commerce Coffee Break podcast. Today we want to talk about how you can manage recurring payments in your store. As you know, recurring payments, recurring customers are very important for your customer lifetime value. And with rising paid ads and rising costs in the e-commerce space, it's very important to get your customers back to buy more from you. So that's the main topic today. With me, I have Sep. He is a partnership manager at Subify. He is also the co-founder of Shopify, and this is a leading subscription application developed by Hengam. And about 2 years ago, he joined the company. His educational background includes an MBA from Sharif University in Tehran, in Iran, and a Master of International Management from the University in Istanbul in Turkey. He has built a successful career in e-commerce and fintech over the last 5 years, and he has excelled as a business development and product manager since. So Sep, definitely the right person to talk about recurrent payments, and I would like to welcome him to the show. Hi, Sep, how are you today?
Hi, Klaus. Thank you, and thank you for having me here.
Sep, tell me a little bit about the different versions of recurrent payments that can happen in an online store. There's more than one.
Yes, so I would say that I can say there are 3 ways of payments. There's a replenish one that whenever you're out of some products, you would order again, for supplements or things like that, or cosmetics. The other one is access memberships or access subscriptions that you would certainly pay for a service that you want to kind of be a part of. Maybe it's a kind of group that you want to join, or there is a special tiers of discounts that's there that you can join if you want to have maybe 20-30% discount on buying the products. And the other one is curation, and I would say that these 3 are out there to use, I would say.
Okay. Now, most Shopify merchants use a sort of subscription model to get people back to the store to buy a specific product all over again. This is obviously the most common one. And to make this work, there are certain steps that a merchant needs to follow to integrate that, to make it work at the end of the day. What are the biggest struggles or problems that you see with merchants by implementing a subscription model into their store? What's the biggest problem there?
So from the time that Shopify itself kind of introduced its APIs about 2 years ago, many software developers try to move into the industry and create meaningful softwares for merchants to use. And right now, I would say that many softwares out there, of course, ours as well, are very good products to use, and they are very easy to integrate to start the process of selling subscriptions on your store. And after that, I would say the problem would comes when you get new subscribers on your website. Of course, there are things that you can use to keep your retention on those customers, but churn is always the problem that many of our own merchants are facing, trying to keep the customers around after 1, 2, 3 successful payments. So many softwares like Shopify kind of integrate some tools that merchants can use in order to kind of in order to keep the customers, I would say. Maybe some cancellation reasons, trying to understand why customers are leaving the website, or if they can incentivize the merchants right from when they are canceling, for example, giving them more discount, 20-30% discount on other products if they want to stay. And many merchants can kind of use the power of data in order to understand, aside from the reasons that merchants, their customers are leaving, the fact that when they're leaving. For example, are they leaving after 1 successful kind of payment, 2 or 3? So they can know exactly when to kind of get in communication with their customers and give them what they need. Maybe create extra value on the second payment so that they would stay and things like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of merchants have heard about the churn rate when people skip off, and tactics and strategies to make this work. But there's also another risk in there, and I think that's something that you have addressed in your app. That's billing management.
Exactly.
So basically, people that where there's an issue with the billing. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, of course. So I was just reading on a report by Recently that merchants can get a lot of value by just emailing their customers if there are kind of payment failures. So what we do in Subify as well is that we have an embedded feature that whenever a payment fails, for example, it may be because of a credit card failure or there are not enough funds. That can happen a lot of times. It happened for me, of course. And in that time, the system would, after a couple of days, send the billing again and tries it. And in the meantime, what Subify is doing is to send both merchants and their customers emails so that they can come back to the system, because they may not know if there are not enough funds in their pockets. So we would notify the customers so that they can renew their card or add some money. And by that, the payment and the contract will continue. And merchants can say that I want to do that 3 times every 2 days, so that they make sure their customers has come back in order to do that.
Yeah. I think that's a very useful feature that you have there. I think it's called dunning when people have an expired credit card, there's no funds on it. Do you have some numbers on how often that, or a percentage on how often that really happens in the store? I think it's quite a high number, isn't it?
It is quite high. It's one of the reasons of churn. I don't have the exact data on that, but the thing is that some of the things that some merchants told us is they are some repeated actions of their customers on this area, for if they didn't have enough funds, was the fact that they didn't continue the contract. So this is one of the main reasons of churn as well. So if there are not already an embedded system that retries the payments, the customers would easily leave. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when a merchant has implemented a subscription, obviously needs to match the look and feel of their store. So how flexible is your solution to be integrated in the existing UX?
So this is the one thing that we worked a lot, so that we have enough options for merchants to use. So whenever our customers kind of download Subify and integrate it, our widget would automatically come to their product pages, the pages that the products they want to sell. And they would say that they can kind of change the color, change the names, change the wordings, everything. And if they want another languages, they can even change the language of the template. And the one thing is that many of the merchants that we talk to, they want some customized widgets as well. And we have a dedicated customer care team for that. So anytime a merchant asks for some specializations or a special widget that they want on their website, we easily do that. If they want to change the overall page as well for the product page that they're using, we have a team of experts that work with us, that they can do that on projects. So it would be as customized for the merchant as possible, because that's subscription page sells on its own. So we want them to easily be accessible, but kind of be in the tone of merchants. Yes.
Okay. Now, obviously, a lot of stores do have only specific products that they want to offer on a subscription-based basis. How do you match a product to Shopify? How does that work?
So we have an embedded AI system as well that kind of sees the tone and color of the page. So whenever the widget is going to be implemented, it would take the kind of whatever the product page is. And many of the merchants we have in our panel, the merchants can change everything that they want. So many of them go on there and kind of, besides from changing the shape of the overall widget, they would change every small things on there as well. So, and the one thing is that our customer care, whenever someone creates his or first rule on subscription, rule is creating a selling plan for a product. So they want to sell it on a weekly basis. the ticket goes to our customer care team, and they kind of get notified that someone created the rule, some new merchant created the rule. So they would go on their product page directly and see if the widget kind of looks the same as the overall page. Does it look good enough? So if it is, or if it that's okay, and if it's not, they would contact the merchant and say that if you do want to do some customization on the page so that it would have the feel of the kind of brand. Yes.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to reporting, we already spoke about the churn rate. Are there other KPIs that a merchant needs to look into when it comes to subscriptions?
Of course, the fact that both us and merchants play in the same industry, I would say the subscription industry gives us a leverage so that we can tell them what we've learned in the past year and a half. A year and a half ago that we've started Subify. At first, we didn't know what metrics to follow, or maybe the CAC, how much is the CAC or the LTV or the churn rate. So throughout the year, we realized how to bring down our CAC by trial and error, testing keywords, maybe checking special categories to use, going live in here and there, doing email marketing better, social media marketing better. So we brought down our CAC, but after a while, we realized that in order to get a better LTV, lifetime value, we need to focus on churn as well. So as we talked, we tried to focus how we can kind of understand why merchants are leaving or what are their reasons, and how we can use data to kind of lower that number. And what we did that, we have a dedicated customer success team as well. So everything that we've learned so far, we put them all in our help desk and academy. We have Subify Academy for our merchants, as many of the merchants that are joining us are they've just started their business on Shopify. They've just learned how subscription business is. They want to, maybe we have many tickets that they say that someone in the industry is selling well in subscription. We want to be like that. So we kind of have those case studies. We tell them you can have this widget or this size or that size. Your kind of cost should not be higher than this, or your churn rate should be this amount, or you should follow these and that metric. So our customer success team would follow all these metrics for our merchants to make sure everything goes according to their plans. And as they grow, we will grow with them. And some of our best merchants are actually the ones that started with us. So they just come into the Shopify. We even teach them what Shopify is, so they can get onboarded. And we just grew alongside with them. Yeah.
Okay. Now, with all the data that you're collecting, do you have any APIs where you exchange this data to, I don't know, email marketing software like Klaviyo or something like that? What kind of interfaces do you offer?
Yeah, so we have integrations with Klaviyo, with MailChimp, and we have an integration with some bundle apps, so that we can, as merchants want to increase their average order value as well, if at some time they realize that even though their churn is lower or their CAC is low, they don't have enough maybe revenue at the end of the month. So bundling is one of the features that we've added. So their customers, that when they're kind of going to checkout, they can add their products, so that they can add the bundles on the weekly basis or monthly basis. And of course, with the email marketing of Klaviyo and MailChimp, our merchants would have an easier communication tools with their own customers, so that because the subscription industry is kind of a relationship between merchants and their customers. So we realize that the more loyal their customer would be, the better business that you would have. It's not like a one-time purchase a customer would come that you have to incentivize to come back. So many customers, when they subscribe to something and you bring value to them on a weekly or monthly basis, they would stay with your business for a long time. We have some of our merchants, we know them as long as we've been in Shopify. So they know our business, we know them, and we know how important the communication is. So that's why the Klaviyo integrations is so important, that merchant would be constant communication with their our merchant would be constant communication with their customers, so that every customer would have enough information to stay on board. So because at some time, if a customer realizes that they are paying too much for some product, or they are getting too much of a product, they would easily get out of that business. So if merchant kind of continuously talk to their customers, they would stay for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good point that you mentioned there. If people get too much of a product, so if they get it in a certain interval and they don't use it fast enough, then the next arrives and then they might be annoyed. Is there a way for the customers to manage their subscription? For instance, if they go on holiday or something like that, how does that work?
So we have added a feature that merchants can now reschedule their orders. For example, if they are they have a list of deliveries for the upcoming week or upcoming month, and they can reschedule it and communicate it. It will be automatically communicated with their customers as well. So that because till about 2 weeks ago, merchants and customers could only skip the next product. So if they didn't want the next delivery, or on the panel, the customers on the panel or merchants on this side, they could click on some button and the next order would be kind of skipped. But right now we've released it about a week ago that merchants can reschedule. They can put any time they want. So if they're out of time for a month, or they are kind of, their inventory didn't come for some reason, they can skip the products for a month and communicate that with user easily. And this way, I would say customers are on the fact that merchants do that, customers would understand. The problem that we see sometimes that the customers would leave is that there's a lack of communication. So as long as there is, even though there are skips or here and there, everything would go according to plan.
Okay, I think that's a very useful feature, that if you go on holiday, then you just put in a new date and the next one comes. And as a merchant, you're not losing the customer. So from the implementation, obviously the Shopify app, what kind of steps are involved with the implementation, with onboarding? What kind of time frame do I need to calculate for that?
Okay, so for a new merchant, as we realize that many of the merchants that are joining the program are new. For example, like this today, a merchant joined us that was even on a trial on Shopify. So it's less than a week that they joined the program, then they installed. So we created the onboarding process extremely easy, and so that merchants are good to go like in 5 minutes. So the onboarding is, we have a 25-minute demo on panel, but you don't really need that. So to get onboarded, just a few clicks, you can create a rule, and the customer care would come and see the widget is fine. So and everything looks well, you can get your subscriber in a blink of an eye. So I would say in 5 minutes, you're good to go.
Okay, no, that sounds great. Tell me a little bit about the pricing. How do you charge the merchants for using Shopify?
Okay, we have 3 tiers of pricing right now. Of course, the pricing changes every month as the new feature comes, or we see that every maybe a specific requirement from the merchants. But right now, there are 3 tiers. They're $9, $39, and $99. And the fact is that when you go to the higher tiers, the care of the customer care system would be much higher. So if we have a dedicated account manager, when you're in the $99 program, and they would be in constant kind of talk with you in order to make sure that the metric that we've talked about are getting better and better. Is your kind of marketing cost high, or is your churn rate high? So if that's the case, we would kind of send articles, send our help desk, even get in the meeting, and to make sure that you are building your subscription plan and subscription business as you want.
No, makes total sense. One feature that really stands out for me with your app is the billing management, the dunning management. I think that's a huge help in having a control over what's really happening and not losing people from the subscription. Where can people find out more about Subify?
Of course, they can find us on Shopify App Store if they search for Subify. And we have a website, subify.info, in which that alongside from everything that goes around in our app, we have a partnership program that agencies and technical partners can join. And we have a blog dedicated to kind of businesses that are growing their business starting to grow their business in Shopify and subscription, and following that articles, as we are doing multiple articles per week, would definitely help them get to know how they can grow their subscriptions.
Awesome. I will put the links in the show notes, and you're just one click away and people can find you easily. Sep, thanks so much for your time and giving us a bit of an overview about how to create recurrent revenue with your business through subscriptions. I think that's a topic that every merchant has on the list and definitely should check out your app. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Klaus. It was a pleasure.
Hey, Klaus here. Before you go, I would like to invite you to become part of the e-commerce merchant pro community to get actionable advice from other Shopify merchants who already have achieved what you are aiming for. Our community is a safe place to actively grow your online retail business with the support of the most amazing and helpful group of e-commerce entrepreneurs behind you. Running a Shopify business is tough. Don't do it alone. Join us now. You will find the link in the show notes. Also, if you think your online store has conversion or marketing issues and you would like to have a fresh set of eyes on your business, then drop me an email at klaus@klauslauter.com and let me know a little bit about your business. It might be beneficial for you to have me look over your store, offers, emails, and ads and get an unbiased outside perspective and guidance to help you make most of your online business. Thank you as always for tuning in today. I appreciate you. Until next time, and I talk to you soon.